Yeah. Hi, Parvez. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. So yeah, we just do a check for audio. I think it's fine. Can you hear me? And I think
Yeah,
others
yeah.
can hear Parvez, right? I can hear you. Good. Okay. So anyway, we'll wait for others to join in. I just put a message in the group, and then maybe we'll wait for a few more minutes to just see how
Yeah,
many
yeah,
people
yeah.
can hear.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So we'll start soon. Hmm? Okay. I think Parvez just will be joining back. All right. Fine. I think we can start soon once Parvez is back. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for him particularly, please do use the chat box. And right now, there's no issues with chat box. As I said in the last interviews, so we had some issues. People could not use it. So if you could not, or if you cannot use it right now, you can use the WhatsApp group, or you can just DM me on WhatsApp. That should also be fine. Okay. All right. So we'll start. The first spotlight and for everyone to see. All right. So welcome, Parvez, and we'll be interviewing you today as like any as we have just discussed and advertised and asked people to join. So the whole reason for this interview is that uh, we have been sharing resources, right? So the whole idea of psychology entrance prep is that people can benefit from resources that are available, right? People need not take any, taking the bank sort of subscription, right? So it is very happy that people are able to use it and people are able to, give results from it. So you would be like one of the examples here. So of course, I welcome you and I want you to like talk about what is your opinion, what is your effort, what was your strategies, and how did you overcome a lot of challenges. To start with, just introduce yourself to us, the rest of the group. So, what is your background and what was your college and all that?
Yeah, thank you, Roderick, for this lovely introduction. My name is Parvez Mustafa. I come from a small town in Sivsagar, Assam, and I have done my bachelor's in psychology from Jamia Millia Islamia, and then I went on to do my master's from Christ University, Bangalore Central Campus. I graduated this year only from Christ back in May, and since then I have been giving entrances back to back, starting from NIMHANS, LGBRMH, and now IBAS. And yeah, also I think about me, I think I'm a very fun-loving person, little bit on the extroverted side, and I think yeah, and I also uh, I have interest in music, films, and I also play the guitar sometimes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, you've got a lot of things going on, right? So, what are the things that you do other than studies, as you said? How do you structure your day? So, other than studies and hobbies,
Yeah, so is it in connection with the exam or in general?
gentle.
In general, I think it has changed over the years. Before I used to, I'm more of an exploratory person, and I think I do a lot of things, going out with friends, visit a lot of places wherever I am in, and also, host parties sometimes, or um, I don't know, like also meeting a lot of, I am very used to meeting people who are in the town and matlab I would catch up with them. And apart from that, I try to give some time to my guitar as well, and I also sing and compose sometimes. My main goal, I think, every time it is about trying to live a day that serves me the most. And honestly speaking, most of the days, actually 80% of the time, I fail. But yeah, I think it is towards, I think, self-improvement and working on career, relationships, and my hobbies and interests. Yeah.
Great. You particularly said you were just a recent, graduate from Christ, and
Yeah.
you just finished your PG this year. A lot of us, I mean, even me included, so I had to take 3, 4 attempts. I took 3 attempts at enhance.
Mm,
A lot of people are still attempting. You may
mm,
also have attempted like various other exams. maybe could not
Mhm.
clear them.
Yeah.
So how, or any advice to people that, how to stay motivated so that despite these shortcomings, how do you keep going?
Mhm. I think you should be, at least for me, everybody has other opinions. At least for me, I did not take anything as, I have to do this, I have to get in this institution or do this particular thing. I kept all my options open. I kept net open. I kept my PhD option open. I kept working open. I kept any only in terms of MPhil. I was very sure that I would only apply in places where they give me a stipend on which I can live upon. So I only applied to places who give at least 25,000 stipend. For example, I just gave NIMHANS and I gave LGBRPH. CIP, it was a mistake that I did not give, but I also felt that I was not prepared and a lot of lack of motivation and all of that. To all those who are struggling with motivation, I think it's more about how you declutter your stress. It's already a very difficult exam, and many people say that it's 90% hard work and 10% luck. But when there are just 3 seats, 5 seats, 10 seats you are competing for, where 2,000, 2,500 students, out of whom at least 400 or 300 students are such who are your direct competitors, it's almost 50% luck and 50% your hard work, but they're complementary. And I think luck, I hate to use the word luck, I call it unsystematic variance. Matlab
Okay.
and it will be there. And I
Mhm.
think for me, I always try to keep my intent right. That, okay, even if I don't get in, but I will give in my best attempt. And if it does not work out, I would go on to the next. For example, after giving, I had my life planned just till IBAS. I did not apply for any jobs. I gave my full attention to these exams when it was either for NIMHANS, LGBRMH. I just gave my full attention to it. After IBAS, I had no idea what I'm going to do. I also felt, I actually texted you that I'm getting 96, and you said that the cutoff could go
Mhm.
95 plus minus 3. And I also believe that definitely because it is a paper where it was possible to score 98. So I was not hoping for much. One of my friend invited me to Rishikesh. I went off there. I did not have any
Okay.
idea when the results will come. I was there. We were just roaming around, and
Mhm.
I think I was in Beatles ashram, just by the Ganges. And suddenly the flow of the river increased. And my first friend from Christ, she called me after like 20 minutes of the result that congratulations. And I had no
Oh,
idea what she's talking about.
yes.
And I was lucky that I was with my, best of friends and my brother. And you know everybody thought that we had gone crazy because everybody was thinking what are these guys happy about and things like that. So the main point, I'm digressing a little bit, but the main point here is that I was not expecting that I would get in as such. I was like, this
Mhm.
trip is going to be a refuel for me. Even if I don't get it, I will now give RML or I will give KGMU. I will prepare for net. So I had a lot of, I was exhausted, but I thought that that trip would kind of help me. So I think that way, I think motivation will end definitely, but it's how you refuel again, get back up on your feet and continue.
Got it. Yeah, I pretty much got this from your overall response that you were not attached to any particular, of course, you sorted out only those institutions which gave stipend, but you were not like so attached to, okay, this got over, I should, sit and de-stress. Of course, you did de-stress, but you did not
Mhm.
get so affected by it. So you're just more chilling about, let me focus on the next sort of a thing.
Matlab, the day the results came and I didn't get into NIMHANS or LGBRMH, I was the most miserable person, of course. Matlab,
Okay.
of course I was very sad, and but it was
Mhm.
okay. Matlab, in the long term I knew that I need that one day of 2 days of venting out to someone, or I have my friends who will always organize a party or sit down, that let it go, would sit around, do all everything that is there, below the sky, and just enjoy that night and rest for a couple of days, refuel. And yeah, so of course I get stressed, but I think it's more about how you cope with that and come out of it.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, it seems like you got the balance there somewhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
what's prep strategies? Okay, so how did you structure your preparation across theories, PYQs, and application-oriented questions,
Hmm.
reading? So how did you manage? or how do you structure that?
Yeah. So I think I'll answer this by the first of all thing I would give credit to my college, which is Christ University. They covered the syllabus very well. Our assignments were very exciting, actually very tough. We lost many nights of sleep over it. And so I had a very good foundation of studying there, and I had some teachers who were genuinely inspiring. Matlab, looking at them, I just wanted to learn more and come back in the class with better prepared. So my basics were done in class, all right. And also I started very early. Like I started with the focus of net, that I would give net, because for me earning after masters was more important than what I'm doing,
Mhm.
genuinely speaking. So I had planned that way. So that way I started, and I had my mentors were people who had done their MPhil from NIMHANS, or had done their PhD from NIMHANS, or those people who were giving these MPhil exams again and again. Who were my teachers. So we had mentors there. So I have two, three, four mentors who were. I'm not going to name all of them because I don't want to take the time, but
Sure.
yeah, matlab, definitely thank you. I would like to thank them so much. They gave me the direction on, you know, on how to approach the exam. They were so helpful. They even gave me their books for a year, like keep them in that way.
Mhm.
And apart from that, I took help from seniors. Now, one of them, my senior, she's in CIP Ranchi. One of them is also pursuing from another institution. So I always trusted in them, and whenever I had any doubt, like I'm not one of those persons who will like call them again and cry ki I'm not getting in ye wo. I would talk to them maybe once in a month, but I would make sure that uh, conversation is fruitful, and they were always inspiring. So I had ideals to communicate it to me that it was possible. I had living
Okay.
examples of those people who have done such courses. So from them,
Mhm.
I took that mentoring, that guidance first on how to approach these exams, right? Then I started my preparation. Now, most of the people here, even me, I was also running after routine. I was running after what will be the plan, what is the, how much syllabus, how many books I will cover. But then I realized ki I'm not even in the competition when I'm not able to dedicate at least 3 to 4 hours every day. I'm
Mhm.
not even nobody is going to consider me a competition if I'm not able to sit 3 hours. But then I realized I did not have the ability to even sit for 2 hours continuously.
Mhm.
So I did not focus on any plan. I'm just gonna do whatever is possible on a particular day. Even it is 2 hours, 3 hours, by the end it averaged out for 4 to 5 hours every day. So my plan was, first of all, do all the PYQs of net
Okay.
psychology, of all the MPhil papers that I could collect anywhere. I did not have money to buy the good, big books of some companies. So I would like go on to, go to a friend's place and do it there only. Then I would
Mhm.
note down and come back. I would use to do that. Then after you are done, I feel you should not stop at just doing MPhil papers, because that is very limited content.
Yeah. So
After
true.
that, I continued to do all the PhD papers that are available of reputed institutions. I did
Mhm.
all the MA papers. Some MA papers are much better than the MPhil papers. If you do BHU MA Psychology, DU MA Psychology papers, they're much better than the quality of MPhil papers in the past few days, whatever we are seeing. So
Mhm.
all of those, that is very important that you do it first, because that will help you narrow down the relevant material.
Okay.
I
So that's
think by
about
the end,
PYQs.
yeah, matlab, that is about
Okay.
PYQs. So when you do that, you will understand that what are the things that you need to cover and what you don't. It's more
Mhm.
important to figure out what you're going to not do, right? And after that, I studied. I was to plan the 60 days plan, 2 days, 2 days, or 3 days, 4 days, depending on the importance of that unit. I would give it. For example, psychological testing, I gave 10 days in my 60 days
Okay.
plan. Or so let's say general psychology, I had a lot of ideas, so I just gave it 4 days. Matlab, I had such 60 days, I had multiple 60 days plan. Matlab, that way I was doing. So that is how I structured that this much days I will do. And I took a normal notebook and I used to note down that these two subjects I studied for this time. And the question paper that I did, I would write the score. Like if I got 70%, 75%, 80%,
Mhm.
90%. And since I was preparing for a very long time, did everything twice. So I also used to compare how much I was getting. In many papers, if I got 85% before, I used to get 83 in my second attempt for some reason. So all of those things,
Okay.
all of those challenges would definitely come. Uh, and yeah, matlab, I think I used to also, mm, after all the question papers were over, Perplexity AI got free for Airtel users. So I use
Mhm.
Perplexity deep research mode to generate question papers by feeding it data. Like I would make the
Oh,
list of the topics, put it into AI, and say, "Ki, I don't want these questions, but I want very similar questions of similar difficulty that could be asked in
mhm.
such entrances." So by the end time, I was able to catch the nerve of the examiner. I could, so that is why, matlab, if somebody took 10 days to finish some content, I could finish it in 2 to 3 days because I would just skip the parts which I felt that they're completely irrelevant. And yeah, these are the things that I did in the final 4 months. But before that, I think I studied everything very properly. Like Kaplan and Sadok, I used to whenever I used to get any free time in class, or it's a very boring lecture or anything like that. If I'm made to sit in internship also, I would just take out Kaplan and Sadok and I read it once. I just read it once, but with notes. So I was able to finish it once. So after that, I got a lot of confidence in my stronghold over the subject, but
So
still I was struggling
you
only.
use
Yeah.
book.
uh, Sorry, I cannot hear you
Can you
properly,
hear
would you
me?
repeat? Yeah, now.
Sorry. Just a second. I think it's from my end. So I'll just change network. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. Yeah, so that was my network. Sorry about that. So
Mm.
yeah, you had said like PYQs. So you had said that retest a lot of times and also have people who have already cleared it mentor you. So these are strategies you already said, and you were saying something in between, and I stopped you. Sorry about that. So could you repeat
Yeah,
what
no.
you're saying? Sure.
Yeah, I was just saying that matlab, Kaplan and Sadok was a book that, you know,
Ah.
everybody was saying that you need to read it once. Not for the entrances, but to be a good trainee. Like I was doing my internship in this hospital called KIMS, where Deepa ma'am was there, my supervisor. When I used to take
Mhm.
my Neeraj Ahuja, she was like, "Why are you reading so small books? Read big books for big
Mhm.
dreams." So, matlab, I used to, then I slowly, I finished everything. And I also had a very good psychopathology teacher who literally taught us the entire Kaplan and Sadok in a year. So, she also used to take MCQs. Like we had MCQs like 7 questions, 7 minutes, whatever the score, instant it. Matlab, if you're not getting it right, you are gone, and it just adds in
Mhm.
your internal assessment. So there, I used to get marks like 3 out of 7, or sometimes 2.5 out of
Mhm.
7. It was so difficult, even after rereading. So then I understood that it's not important that you know this thing, but it's more important that you understand what the examiner is trying to ask you. And I also
Mhm.
used, and I think one thing that particularly changed in case of IBAS compared to others, I think I stopped complaining that the question paper was easy, that
Okay.
the question paper was bad. Because the thing was, people were getting in,
Mhm.
right? People were getting in, and I can totally understand there were two options who were exactly the same, right? But one was definitely more correct than the other. Matlab, it's sometimes, of course,
Yeah,
there are
just
places.
mild semantics difference.
Yeah, so sometimes there are issues, I get 100%. But the thing is that the only way to solve that confusion is to do a lot of question papers and to keep checking on their answer key to understand ki, what is this person trying to get out of me. I think that kind of helped. Yeah.
All right. I'll have to very much agree on this part that you said. No, so we used to feed AI topics and get into the mindset of the question paper setter. What questions could you even ask from this topic? So when I was teaching, that is what I did. That's what actually helped me a lot also for clearing demands. So I used to teach And then, of course, what can I ask students that makes them think, or that makes them, apply the knowledge, not just memory. So that helped me make various kinds of, maybe when, you would know if you had taken the MCQs, some of them would have been a bit
Yeah.
tricky and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that is how the MCQs came up, that we are like circulating in the group. So yeah, so next question is about what are the resources? One was Kaplan and Sadek, which is a huge book.
Yeah.
Good that you were able to cover it. What are the other resources? Maybe any syllabus that you used, anything at all?
Um, Matlab, if you look at it, I think if you take a very top-down approach to this preparation, I think you
Hmm.
will be overwhelmed. I think just check how studying for 3 to 4 hours every day feels like. Try to get to that level. And I think then you figure out
Hmm.
your own resources. That is what worked for me. But you're coming to your question, what were the resources? So in the beginning, when I was preparing, so my first resource was my college ka syllabus. My college ka syllabus, and it was very important for me to do something around it, because I had also prepared for, I was preparing for TIS in my bachelor's, and before that I was preparing for engineering in my 11 and 12. So I've
Oh.
already had a lot of disappointment with myself that I never actually do it till the end. And for once in my life, I
Hmm.
just wanted to give my everything and say, ki, okay, I will not get in. It's more of a thing that you tried and you did not get in. But
Ah.
if you ask yourself and you are, okay, I could have put in more effort, that is bad. I know it is
Hmm.
easier for me to say now, but I think it would be a bigger challenge for me to say later. Uh, so coming to the first, so my thing was like when it comes to resources, I would do whatever was necessary, right, and not do anything more. So suppose abhi, for example, RML exam is just a few days away. You cannot sit down with Kaplan and Sadok now.
True, true. Hmm.
So that was my resource because I had the time of that 2 years. That book matlab, took probably 6 to 7 months properly because every day I was not studying it. I had other subjects also. So the college ka syllabus and whatever books were coming out or coming with it, I covered. Not honestly speaking, I did not cover everything. Matlab, I don't think I have read every book page to page, but I think
Hmm.
I would suggest finish either Cicerelli, which for some reason
Okay.
my friend said he is pronounced Chicarelli. Uh,
Chicken. Okay.
yeah, Chicarelli or Morgan and King, preferably both, but at least one of them you should complete because 50 to 60% of the questions, and in many cases even 80% of the questions are from those books only. It will not come from
Hmm.
anywhere else. After you are done with that, then you go with the standard books of whatever subject. I'm not going to tell every book now, but definitely whatever books are there, I think you'll get it anywhere. Pick any one book depending on the time and finish. I think I at least tried to finish that book and made notes out of it. Mm, Also, I was mentioning to you yesterday. Also, also took coaching for my net preparation,
Hmm.
which I shared with a couple of friends. So I also during my net preparation, I also matlab a lot of I did not attend their lectures as such, but I finished their PPTs. So I had a lot
Okay.
of
Okay.
you
Hmm.
know those little information kind of helped me. But that is not at all sufficient for an MPhil preparation. I think when it comes to resources, the most important part where this question should come in is in terms of psychological tests. That means psychodiagnostics and research and stats and psychopathology. When it comes to psychological tests, there is no single book. I
Okay.
have my own notes, I think, which I will share in a few days on LinkedIn or something. I think
Yeah, yeah.
that
Please do.
might help a lot of people. So what I did was that I listed all the tests, whatever was possible. I texted my seniors, I texted my teachers, I texted my peers who were also very excellent friends of mine. So I got the full list, and I think it took me 2 to 3 months, slowly. I was able to finish that. Whatever was necessary, the versions, the dates, the subtests, the number of subtests. So that way I made notes, projective tests, non-projective tests, intelligence
Mhm.
tests, their history, their theoretical basis, and very niche things like, classification of tests. That is a very good question that comes very often. Frank classification, Lindsay classification. So these things you have to churn up yourself. I took the help of books. There was Gregory, there was A.K. Singh. I also took a lot of help from AI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, to kind of develop my own notes, and I wrote them down. And I think my biggest challenge was, trying to remember all of that, because questions can come like, what is the scoring range of BDI, or
Mhm.
or let's say, what is the anxiety screening tool for AIMS, neuropsychological battery. These are very niche questions. So for that, you have to
Okay.
prepare it in very in-depth way. So in those cases, I think your resources should be variable. You put in those hours, and that will, I think, definitely help. Yeah.
So this is definitely what we do even in Enhance because we get this Viva. Okay. So the externals they come, we don't even know what they'll ask. So we'll use ChatGPT and say what could be asked. Right. So this is the content that we study. These are the tests that we use. So they would ask what is the cutoff scores for MMSE, A's and like random like out of the blue when you ask such questions, you would kind of black out there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So of course you have to prepare for them, like leave no stones unturned. So
yeah,
that is what I would say. Of course, use any resources that are at hand. So I also use Christ's syllabus only for most of my preparation. Net ka
yeah,
syllabus, Christ ka syllabus, and Manipal also gave their MPhil entrance syllabus. So these three I combined. That is what we also put in the group. So people, if you can use those, that should definitely help you. All right. So coming to IHBAS ka paper itself. So, what are the psychometric insights or trends that you were able to observe? Of course, 10 people got the same marks, right? So, first, so what are your thoughts on that? How easy was the paper?
I think it was. I won't call it an easy paper, but it was a easy to mildly difficult paper in terms of 15 questions which could potentially differentiate between students. But I think matlab, the ICC curve would be very terrible for this question papers, because 10
Yeah.
students on the first rank, matlab, you have definitely not been able to differentiate between the top 10, let's say even top 17 students, so who also got ranked two. Here also I would like to, one thing I would say is that I think genuine appreciation and respect for anyone who scored above 90 on that paper, because I know they will definitely either be at par with me, and in most cases will be better than me, because I am a fresher. So definitely 1 year they will have more knowledge, more experience, and even probably more ability. But I think it's very important to understand that it is not just because of anyone's ability, but also because of the nature of questions. So coming to the paper, yeah, the paper was, it was not an easy paper. If it was an easy paper, I think the cutoff would even go high, because some questions you just know it or you don't know on that paper. There was ROC wala question. Then again, I think
Mm.
ROC wala question was the persuasion question only, in my opinion, because that is the thing. No, I did not find that answer in any book when I returned. It was not available anywhere. But those who did that question right could only do it because they caught the nerve of the examiner, that he is trying to trick us by saying that it is the ROC curve he's talking about, but when he is not, because he's clearly mentioned communication studies in that question. Right.
True.
Khair, it is up to debate. It's my opinion. So definitely the paper was not up to the mark to differentiate for at least five students. So now they're taking, I think, 23 of total students. I don't know how
Mhm.
many general students they will take, but I think it's very sad that, even getting the second rank, people are thinking that will I get in or not? People are struggling, like, should I prepare for the next exam? Or that creates a mental stress. And I don't think such students who prepare so hard, give their everything, deserve any of it. And yeah, I think definitely there should be more transparency, better papers, I feel. And I hope it comes over time. I would say one thing. I gave LGBRMH paper, Tezpur. I come from Assam. And I had this genuine pride when I gave that exam, that it was such a well made paper. The cutoff was 79. The second ranker got 75 or something. The third
Mhm.
ranker got 74. That tells you that the first ranker is actually very excellent. That paper also had
Mhm.
negative marking. It was a lovely, well balanced paper. Even if you look at Imhan's paper, it's a very nice paper. If you
True.
even Nimhan, I would even Nimhan's ka paper this time, it was a good differentiating paper. All right, but CIP Rachi this time or IBAS, I think, matlab definitely the examiner, whatever thought it was, maybe they're also coming from a place, but definitely it's not enough to differentiate between the kind of talent that we are having in this country today around
Mhm.
clinical psychology.
Yeah. So definitely we have a lot of people getting the same mark indicates that people are skilled, people are knowledgeable, right? It's just the tests are not adequate enough to differentiate and tell them these people are good. So I think this is not the first time. I think GMCH also had the same issue. So they had one
Definitely.
seat and three toppers were there. So it had to go with someone who was younger and things like that. So that is kind of really messed up, heartbreaking for others who actually put in effort
Definitely.
were equally deserving. So I personally believe they should go up in the Bloom's taxonomy instead of just asking memory-based questions, just explanation. It should more be application or even analysis. Evaluate and create, though we cannot make in MCQs. So yeah, guys, you can also try that. You can ask your AI to make a lot of application-based questions in case next year people start making tougher question papers, just like the ones in Imhans and all that. So that is one more suggestion from. All right. So yeah, we discussed 10 people getting it first. So any particular cognitive hacks that you used?
Yeah. So one thing is that I think many of my friends even know is that I have a very terrible memory.
Hmm.
No matter how much I reread or how much I use mnemonics, I would make a mnemonic and forget the mnemonic.
True. Happened
So
to me. So that's why I'm laughing, not
yeah,
at
it
you.
happens to me
So
all the time.
yeah.
So that way, and also uh, I don't know. I think I should say this, but also like matlab, I have seen people smarter than me with higher IQs also preparing
Hmm.
for the exam. So I always had this inferiority complex in me that I'm not that smart enough, or that
Hmm.
I don't have that cognitive capability for such an examination where memories questions are so or maybe the bandwidth to cover so much syllabus. All those insecurities were in me as well. But then I think I read it somewhere or probably saw it in an Instagram reel. I don't remember at all. And also, like I'm not the perfect person as well. As well, my habits are really bad. Matlab, my sleep schedule is very bad. I also became lazy after Christ because Christ was very woe for me. Like very, it was too much for me. But also, I think it was a necessary thing for me. Definitely, I also came. That is why that for that reason to Christ. But so I also had a lot of other difficulties. Matlab, uh, I- till the end, I was not able to study by only studying. I needed music to go on around me, or I would just listen to some
Hmm.
podcast while studying. Matlab, very inefficient methods of study that would, matlab, psychologically speaking, could damage my brain. So I did, but when then I tried to like change one habit after the other, which failed terribly because it does not work for me. What really worked for me, that what I read is that you do great things. Matlab, this is not a very great thing as such, but what the resource said. You do great things not by overcoming difficulties all the time, but despite those difficulties. Matlab, I am like that, and it would take a long time for me, and this cannot be an excuse that I will not do it. So I would just go on, not think about it, do whatever I'm doing, try to improve those things little by little, but I would not connect it to because of this bad habit, I'm not able to study. That thing I never brought on the table. I'm like, even if I
Hmm.
do that, I go out with friends, I enjoy with them, or whatever I do, I would spend my time, and I would never put. I never really in my sacrifices were of different kind. My sacrifices were not of like not going out with friends or not doing these parties or things like that. My sacrifices were like that commitment to myself that despite all of these things, I will continuously do it. I actually forgot the question.
It's okay. So it also tells us
Yeah,
like how you
so a
forget
memory
mnemonics.
strategy, memory
So yeah.
strategy, yeah.
Huh.
So my memory strategy, what really finally worked for me was that my retrieval strategy were mostly MCQs, very hard
Okay.
MCQs.
Fine.
I made my own MCQs. So I was, whatever I was not able to do, I could go back and see what was not there.
Hmm.
And one thing I made, I called it the red notebook. So,
Hmm.
so on the day of the exam, what exactly I would read and go. I had this much that could go in my bag. That means if this much information I could retain in my head for the next 3 hours, I could do my best. So I prepared those notes. Matlab on one page only, I would put all the intelligence theories, the important things. I would put, um, let's say, Rorschach ke 10 cards, how many polychromatic, achromatic, or how many, which is the mother card, which is the father card, and things like that. And whatever Valiant's classification or Lindsay's classification, these are very niche questions that any good paper should definitely ask. Piaget's six substages of one of those stages, those tertiary circular reaction, secondary. Because if you
Uh,
get that
they
question
don't
right,
ask
that
those
is,
usually. Yeah.
yeah, matlab, I read that because I know if they ask that question, no, I would get ahead of at least one person. Because the
Hmm.
rest of the things to anyway you will do. If they ask you which of these people which of these tests are projective tests, and only one Rorschach is given there as an option, you don't need to study anything for that, right? But I think the competition for that one question that will come extra for the differentiator. So all those important things I would note down, and last 2 3 days I would go over them again and again, and also go try to do one or two paper every day. That way, I think still used to forget, but generally MCQs, mein, there are four questions, the recognition based memory. So I think that worked out for me. So definitely prepare your own red notebook. Yeah.
This tells us about more about retrieval based learning rather than encoding strategies, right?
Yeah.
So I think I we had a meet also. It was more of a webinar. There also I focused on why rereading doesn't work, why
Yeah. Yeah.
you reading things from scratch also doesn't work, because even like strategies like noting down, highlighting,
Mhm.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
making mnemonics, they only help you to an extent because you can easily forget the mnemonics. So it is only as long as you keep using that information through MCQs or applying it in a field where you have the job. So that helps you retain it, because otherwise you'll forget them. Right.
Right.
So what you said based on MCQs, that makes more sense, evidence based, like what
Yeah.
research also
Yeah.
tells
Definitely.
us.
And
True.
also, I think it's I also, matlab, when I'm learning something, I don't like to learn it for an MCQ. So
Hmm.
that way, matlab, I have seen a lot of things like space repetition or serial recall and things like that. But the thing is that I am not that person at all. I am that person who matlab tries to learn for the sake of learning that thing. That is why I won't forget the Rorschach cards, because I did that again and again. I had a lot of doubts. I asked my internship. I would, some basically I think it's called elaborative rehearsal, right? Matlab, that
Hmm.
thing only you read to a deeper extent, and that way you store it in your memory. I don't like, mnemonic based studying, because it works for me sometimes and sometimes it does not, but it just makes the whole study dry. So
Yeah.
in that way, it's more like, I think something like elaborative rehearsal worked more for me because I had this long term preparation strategy also.
Sure. So I also felt that mnemonics were like too much effort, so that I'll have to make my mnemonic. I have to remember that. So that
Yeah, yeah,
becomes a double effort. So
yeah.
yeah. So I very rarely used it except for really long lists or something that could easily be made into the.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about the community of psychology. So there are a lot of coaching centers out there. There are a lot of groups out there. So how did you get into these groups, and how were you able to interact and ask doubts and questions and all those?
Could you repeat the last line? I had some issue.
Sure, sure, no issues. So there are a lot
So
of
sorry.
communities for psychology, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get to know them and get into them, or were you able to get doubts or any questions answered and all that in those groups, us ours included also?
Honestly speaking, I just joined two groups, and that is also for different reasons. One was yours because I was attracted that, basically I saw Nimhan's All India Rank 1
Okay.
and such a young person coming out there. So I joined actually I did your MCQ and straight away I was humbled. And I
Okay.
got like,
So
I would
sorry for that.
generally, when I attempted biopsych papers, biopsych is very strong for me because Jay
Mhm.
Shankara Reddy, our dean of Christ University, he taught us biopsych. So I had a very strong base on biopsych. Matlab, if there are 100 questions, I would generally get 90 by the end, even
Mhm.
more difficult. But when I did your paper, I think I got something like, I don't know, 70s may I got some mark.
Mhm. Which
And
is a good score,
um,
not a bad one.
matlab, that is not what I felt during that time. I was
Okay.
like,
Okay.
exam is just a month away and I'm still scoring this much. Later on, I realized, of course, but that kind of helped in the sense that I was able to identify those niche questions where I things could go wrong. I told you, spinal nerves,
Mhm.
cranial nerves. If they suddenly ask you, let's say, Hmm. Out of these spinal nerves, which of them have a sympathetic function or a parasympathetic function? It's a very difficult question. People will not teach you even in class. So that way, I think your MCQs really helped me to realize that and incorporate my work.
Okay.
I had joined another very popular group. I think it was more about a webinar. I was put in because I applied for this webinar, so I was put in there. But definitely, in some way or the other, they definitely helped in the sense that people would post MCQs there, whichever they found to be hard. But one thing I would say ki that is not a that is a support system. It is not. I don't think you should look at it as a resource as such. It is definitely support
Mhm.
system where because you see a question and now you think that you know this answer and then you'd explain it to a friend. Right. So that is how only these two groups I joined. That is how I think these help. But as a resource, I think it's very limited. Matlab, I think it's more of a mentoring resource. For example, I could ask you, I'm having this problem, this problem, but you cannot send me all the resources to me, right? You cannot be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
sending you all my notes, you read from this. That is not what's going to happen there. But definitely when you look around those people, you see so many people working so hard, working so diligently. Sometimes when you're just lying on the bed and that MCQ comes out at 11:30, now you're like, okay, they're also studying, I should definitely put my hand. So in that way groups helped, but not in matlab uh, uh, purely resource based ways. Yeah,
Okay.
but definitely
I will
matlab
also
I think I
highlight
went
something
through
that
your
you said. Yeah. Mm.
so sorry matlab
No,
I
go on.
also
You can.
went through your weekly biopsych and research and
Uh,
the PPTs. So that was the resource. I think from groups, I think only I got that resource and your MCQs. Yeah.
okay. Very clear. So I also highlight something that you said. So you got 70, which I genuinely say it's a good score. So this tells me that you are not okay. It's a difficult paper. Even there, I got 70. So I'll be complacent with it. That's not what you did. So I think a lot of people would be settled for that, would do that and say, okay, it was a genuinely difficult paper. So 70 means then I'm pretty set. So instead, what you found was, oh, there's are areas that I don't know. So I'm going to go back and read them. Right. So that is what helps you get there because it is not actually cutoffs that get you in. There are just 10
Mm,
seats. So you have to outperform the rest of them to get into it. So you can only do it by what you did. So if there are any areas that I do not know, I'm going to go and read that so that I can outperform the other people so that I can get in. Right. So that is how it works. It is not about cut off the okay, in these tests I'm getting 85. So this should be good enough. So there people go complacent and then they, kind of drop their efforts and they stay there. So that is something that may not work. So what you did kind of like tells that. Right? Okay. So what about the psychology community as a whole? What do you think? Any advice to the community itself? So people maybe just, a lot of things are changing. So MA, clinical psychology, and there are various other fields also, like it's clinical versus counseling and when you get into clinical, you also know that psychiatry versus clinical, a lot of things do happen. So what do you think? What is your word of advice for the community in general?
I don't think matlab, I'm worthy of giving any advice, but I can definitely put in my opinion.
Hmm.
Uh, in the sense that matlab, it's a good thing the community is building up a mental health workforce, a very educated, a very ethical, and very debating kind of society has turned up. Matlab, nowadays you cannot come up with your own scale out in the blue and say that okay, my company has made this autism scale, let's use it. You say it in a class in Christ University or DU, the students will take lecture of you for the next 1 hour. Like, why did you make that scale? Was it needed? Is it psychometrically
Hmm.
valid? What are your go? So definitely a very sound community is rising. But matlab, personally, I don't like. There is also a whining undertone of the community, not of everyone, of
Hmm.
some people, very whining like this is going bad, that is going bad. I think it's definitely a lot of things are going bad, but uh, w- it's very important that the field is growing, right? And it's very important to stick together in this, approach towards a place where mental health is actually, seen. A career in mental health is seen as a respectable or as an accepting that does not is not related to stigma. Such a community is growing up, so maybe continue with that fight that everybody is going through in terms of mental health advocacy, supporting each other, but maybe tone down a little bit on the whining, tone down a little bit on the telling what exactly other people are doing wrong. And I don't
Hmm.
think, I'm seeing from the past 1 year, it is not matlab, getting us anywhere, to be honest. So I feel that way, but definitely I think kudos to all the people who are working, like people like you or even other people like who are either mental health advocates, clinical psychologists, even people who are giving their own sorts of advice, their opinions on LinkedIn, on Instagram, the content creators definitely who take these things to the public. I think huge appreciation from them, but always I think whatever you take everything with a small pinch of salt. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, it's quite a lot for me to do in paraphrase. So one thing that I would definitely agree on is also for the prep, not just the community. I think that you should reach a mindset where you stop complaining, right? So the paper was hard, reading is difficult, stats is difficult for me. I mean, the more you complain and put yourself within a box that this is
Mhm.
what I'll read, it's not like your end semester exam where you can kind of leave things in options and then clear it. It is a competitive exam, so it is going to be competitive. So once you accept that truth and stop complaining, that's where you get more motivated. I'm not saying you will reach there. You get more
Mhm.
motivated to compete. So you have to compete in a competitive exam. That is the whole gist
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So to end things on a US saying something.
Yeah, matlab, I think it's easier for me to say this because for some reason, as I said, 50% effort and 50% of
Mhm.
unsystematic variance I got in. So I definitely get that it's easier for me to say. But yeah, I think don't take up a opinion or an affect that affects your preparation negatively. Yeah.
True, true. Yeah. So to end things on a lighter note, so if you were to say your preparation journey so far, ups and downs, as a meme, what meme would you use?
Have you seen that paragliding meme?
No, I have not, but maybe people will
I
get
think you
it.
have definitely seen it. मतलब I cannot tell it out here. मतलब मैं कहाँ आ
Uh,
गया?
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
मतलब he's
yeah. That makes.
paragliding. I was like, मैं कहाँ आ
Mhm.
गया इधर? Where am I? Have I come? So that is how I felt when I was failing one after the other. Yeah.
Kudos to you for that. But there are a lot of more places to explore. So even clinical psychology within this niche still has more to offer you. Therapy, assessment, neuropsych. So I think you will have more places to go further.
No, no, I think it's just related with the preparation journey, nothing to do with my
Got it, got it.
love for
Okay, got it.
clinical
Yeah.
psychology. Yeah.
All right. All right, Parvez. So it's been such fun talking to you, and also about a lot of truths where we could get that from your preparation. This is how things are. It is difficult, and still you could persevere and get
Mhm.
ahead of us. So one more thing I would say, even though I cleared demands in 2023 in AIR-1 and all, even if I write the papers now that you guys find, I don't think so.
Mhm.
I would definitely struggle to get in. It's getting more competitive, so you should actually give yourself that slack. But in the end, it's a competitive exam, so still keep motivated. Don't settle for cut-offs. Try to outcompete someone. Of course, it's not like toxic, but it is a competitive exam. It is the fact. So try to leave no stone unturned. Just don't stick with cut-offs that okay, I get this much and I'll be okay with it. So that is my word of advice. And I think people don't have much questions as apart from this. I think we covered all grounds. So yeah, that's about the interview. So what next week, what we'll be doing is we will be discussing about JRF and what are the strategies that you could use. Of course, JRF is more restricted to a syllabus, so it should be much easier. So we will have another mentoring session of sorts. So we'll discuss about how you can prepare for JRF. It's almost there, right? So that will
Mhm.
be our next session next week. All right. So that's it, guys, for today. So thank
One
you for
thing
coming
actually,
in.
one thing,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
go on.
Matlab, I would definitely like to end this on one note. Matlab, it's not possible to end this for me without this. Matlab, have a social support system of
True,
friends.
true, true. Very
Of I would definitely take 5 seconds to thank my friends who always believed in me till the last moment, and they respected my boundaries. They gave me the time. They gave me everything. My partner, who also helped me a lot, I cannot even describe, and also my family, because I think if you keep these things close, I think, and you give them the appreciation, I think it does not matter if you get in or you not get in. But matlab, remember that these exams are not the most important thing in life. The people who stood by you through all those failures, they definitely matter more. I'm not going to name everybody of them, but yeah, through this matlab, thank you so much. Yeah.
true. All right, guys. So as I said, life is bigger than just exams. Even though it's competitive, treat it as competitive exam, but also realize life is way bigger than that, right? So yeah, we'll end it. So of course, see you next week. We'll keep having some webinars or sessions every week. Right. All right, guys. Thank you. See you. Bye.